This is our gift to Keoki from the land. And this is grown by someone in our training. This is called Miley, for those of you who do not know Miley. It has a very, very sweet and very subtle fragrance. But once you smell Miley, you never forget it. I just got chicken skin from head to toe, just from the odor passing by. This is our son Jack, who's 9. He wins the award for being the youngest person in the training. This year. Now I was taught by one of my kumu that when you receive Miley, you always close it to keep the love in. That was taught to me by a man named John Kimikawa, who has walked the rainbow. And I was blessed to have him as one of my very first Hawaiian kumu. So Keoki is going to open with some music, and I'm so glad. I didn't ask him, I just asked him to pray. So this is a really, really good blessing. Thank you.
Mahalo. First of all, I'd like to say a warm mahalo to Brother Tim here. He's been, sometimes we skip around in the middle of the night trying to juggle our notes and figure out, okay, how is this all going to work out? I started as a farmer at 9 years old. I was in 4-H, involved in the 4-H program with the Hilo 4-H club. So I grew up in agriculture. My dad was pork All-American and one of 2 national delegates to Congress for hog raising. So my background is actually swine production, and I've also done everything. I've raised everything from alfalfa hay to green leaf lettuce which now is my current project, is actually trapping wild furrow hogs here on the island. Started up a trapping business. For any of you that farm here, know that pigs can become a problem, especially if you don't have fencing. A lot of us are moving into areas now that used to be the pigs' home. In fact, it was their home before it became ours. And so now we're learning how to utilize them as part of the whole circle of life that we live. My farm was located in South Kona, in Kealia, so we had a certified organic coffee farm. And what happened was, back in 1990, my dad had a stroke. And we had to decide whether we were going to continue to farm, because of the type of farming that we're doing was very labor intensive. And we developed a system called a deep litter system, which basically eliminated 85% of our wastewater. Most hog farmers like to wash down their pens. Well, what we did was we decided to create a system which was actually developed by my great-great-grandfather. And he was in charge of feeding villages of people. He was one of the chiefs there in South Kona. And his style of farming was basically, anybody from Kona here or no Kona? We have no dirt in Kona. We have rock. And I learned how to grow taro in rocks. I learned how to grow sweet potatoes in rocks. I've learned how to grow everything else that you can think of in rocks. It's possible. It's just where you set your heart and where you set your mind. So my grandfather developed this system called deep litter. And what it is, a lot of people notice that there's a lot of stone walls here on the island. Well, a lot of people think the stone walls are for division. No, the stone walls are to keep animals out. Basically, most of the areas in Kona, we stone off the areas because the cattle would come down and wipe out whole food supplies that's supposed to last us a whole year. We wiped out in less than 24 hours, sometimes 18 hours, they'd wipe out maybe 5,000–6,000 pounds of tea leaf. That was my main market. I sold tea leaf to Hawaii Food Products and poured to a Laulau market on Oahu. But anyways, I always knew that I would be teaching. I wasn't quite sure. So when I came back from Berkeley, I was coaching gymnastics, of all things. And then I got into coaching animal husbandry, teaching young kids how to raise livestock. But I realized what I was teaching them was not sustainable. Teaching them how to raise hogs, how to raise cattle, pigs, when we're buying all of our feed sources from the mainland. So I became creative. And I started reading some of my dad's notes on farming. Come to find out that the way we made dirt was utilizing the pigs. We went right back through history. read the Bible over again, read all of these histories on how the pig was used. And basically, they became our tillers. They chewed up everything. My grandfather, I remember when we were young kids, maybe like your age, climbing up to the top of 100-foot mango trees, avocado trees, kukui nut trees, to defoliate all these trees. And then what we do is we put all of those leaves down into these big stone-walled areas and run the pigs through them. And they chew everything up and they end up like fine powder, like dust. And with that dust is what we started using. Now everything that came onto my grandfather's property, nothing left. We're talking everything from plastic bags to paper bags to aluminum cans. My grandfather also received several awards for his fruits and vegetables at the State Farm Fair in Oahu. And every year he would win for his oranges. These sweet oranges, tangelos, and mandarin oranges. The thing about what made his trees so unique was that nobody would want to go and pick from his trees, because underneath all of his trees were loaded with rusted sardine cans, peach cans, corned beef onion cans. What we found out was that's what made his oranges so sweet, was all the iron that was leaching from the cans. And then all he did was lime and use pig manure. And that's really what helped us develop. So we had to find out new ways, thinking outside of the box, how to make this thing easier for us so that we could farm. So we developed the deep litter system, which basically became more intense, more labor intensive. And eventually we had to phase out of that, but continue to do agriculture, which my dad still does. My dad lives on the island of Maui and is still teaching agriculture, teaching ukulele, and is a ceramics teacher at Lahaina Luna. So we utilize all of these things that we've gone through. And I feel very honored that they would ask me to come and talk about my experiences and to also to do this blessing. Because Hawaiian style, for me, I grew up Hawaiian style. I mean, I grew up in Keaukaha. And for us, we have these, what you call luau's. Yeah, you ever been to a luau? Well, our luau is called pa'aina. Pa'a is to become solid. Aina is earth. And our parties would last for 4 months. Our luau's would last for 4 months because of makahiki season. So literally after eating and drinking and having our fill, we become one with the land, pass out. And literally that was what we were taught, that this is really a good thing to do. I was taught how to grow everything by the phases of the moon. I mean, literally as a child, I remember running around naked in the banana fields, showing my banana to the bananas because my dad said this is going to help. Okay? And also, literally going, there's some things that in Hawaiian culture we don't understand, but we were the fertilizers, we were the hogs. We go out and we eat to our full, to our filled, just till you feel like you're going to pass out. Then we all go out into the field and find our own hole. And then do our thing, cover up with dirt, and plant that bananas right there. And believe it or not, that was the biggest banana trees. And to this day, my grandfather who's 90 years old, still climbs avocado trees, still has his driver's license, and still does talks about tsunami warnings because he was the fire chief for the Big Island of Hawaii.